You say that we failed these children. Why do you say that?
Well, we failed them in three ways, Phil. First and foremost among them is that we've allowed this pandemic to get so far out of control that we now lead the world in the exactly wrong way. The second way we failed our children was that we closed our schools abruptly and summarily without any requisite infrastructure or transition plan and went to a distance learning model that we had absolutely no experience with. And the third way is that the moment we closed, just as you said, we didn't immediately begin planning for how to get students back. And so we find ourselves in a position now where we are scrambling, as you said, to try to make something happen in very, very short order. The truth is that schools were the first thing to close and the last thing to open in our society. And in my opinion, it should have been the exact reverse.
I see what's happened in Georgia, and I understand that there are risks of going back to school, but I'm concerned about the long-term impact of kids staying out of school in terms of their social development, their mental and emotional issues of loneliness, boredom, depression, all of the things that go along with being in interaction with their peers. They're missing all the things that develop the child other than academically. You know, one of the things that Dimitri was saying, which was really important, is if you're not reading on grade in the third grade, you're 4 times less likely to graduate. So if you hit the end of the third grade and you've fallen behind in reading, you're 4 times less likely to graduate. If you're low socioeconomic, you're 6 times less likely to graduate. And that's why I was saying that for primary grade kids, it's really a different ballgame than if you're a sophomore, junior, or senior. It's just so important for them to be getting this. And a lot of the schools have changed the pass-fail from 65 to 50. If you get 50%, you pass. That's an F when I was going. Wasn't that an F when you went to school? You got a 50 on a test that was failing, 70 was a C, 80 was a B, 90 was an A, 50 was an F. And so the standard has really dropped down to accommodate. And I'm very concerned about the mental emotional aspects of children not in class. I'm very, very concerned about that because we've just completed a survey and we found that the pre-post measure of kids' boredom, irritability, aggressiveness, loneliness, before the pandemic it was here, after the pandemic 60 days in, it was here, and now we're like 180 days in, and we don't go back in the fall, it's going to be deeper and deeper, or whatever the day count is. It's getting worse, not better. And they're not developing relationship skills, right? So they're getting depressed, they're getting lonely, they're getting anxious, they're getting bored, they're feeling lonely, they're not developing relationship, interaction skills. And all of those things are actually, that they have developed, are eroding. And then when all this is over, they're going to be back out there with kids that had developed those skills during that developmental period, and I'm afraid they're going to be behind. How competitive are they going to be in sports? How competitive are they going to be in the job market? And what are they going to do with these mental emotional issues? So there is a cost for not being in the classroom that goes beyond just the academics. And I'm very worried about that mentally and emotionally. So that's the balance. Is there a risk they'll get sick? Yes. Is there a risk they'll get sick and make others sick? Yes. But is there a risk that they're going to pay a high price for not being in there? Yes. There are costs on both sides of that, and that's what you have to try to figure out. So I think the best thing is going to be, you're going to have to, certainly in the primary grades, try to come up with the safest possible way you can get back into class as soon as you possibly can. There's not an easy answer, but I thought it was important to stimulate everybody's thinking about it because I know a lot of you are parents. or grandparents like we are.